Hello, I'm Robert, and you're always welcome here in my busy little shop. On today's episode of What's on My Workbench, I want to take a minute, probably about 4, and talk about the Cobra 26 sewing machine. I've had it now about 90 days, so this will be my 90-day review of it. And it really does a good job sewing. It's got abilities and skills beyond me. I recently made this leather tote. There's a video on it if you want to see that. And I sewed this completely on the Cobra, and it makes really nice stitches. So things I like about the Cobra is that it will sew through some pretty thick leather. The literature, I think, calls out 7/16 of thickness, so almost a ½ inch, and that's on vegetable tan leather. The chrome tan leather is harder to sew. So I don't think, unless I have a different experience with it, I don't think it will sew through that thickness on chrome tan. And you know, some leathers are obviously going to be easier to sew than others. So before you get into a large project that requires the sewing with this, you might want to test some layers and see how it's going to act on that one. So let me take the camera here and get you a little closer up view on a few things. So just a quick review of the features. This Cobra is on a stand, and I'm not sure if you can buy them without that. I'm sure you probably can if you want to mount them somewhere, but this is really handy. I don't mind standing while I'm working on it. And it takes a little bit of getting used to where all the controls are. Otherwise, you're having to kind of like look and see what you're doing there. It does have a speed reducer motor in it. It will run at a extremely slow pace. You know, probably as slow as you want to go, that's how fast this will slow down too. The flip down guide I've used quite a bit on long straight stretches. It really helps to keep it there. There is a replacement foot that's a roller here, so if you're sewing things that are more curved, it would work with that. Once again, works better on some leather than others. If it's a fairly stiff leather, it does good, but if it's a soft chrome tan, it's more of a suggestion than a guide for it to run through there. The threading and rethreading of it is really pretty simple. It's got room on the back there for a couple of spools of thread. I've got 2 on there black right now. I'm using it right now to spool up some bobbins. And then I went and I bought this little box to organize the bottoms. It's got a drawer here, but it's mainly, I think, just for tools. It's just too cluttered to have the other things in it. I wish it had, and if someone's a woodworker out there, it would be nice to have a rack on the back here where these spools are stored right on the back of the sewing machine. There's probably a good reason for some why you don't want it there. Maybe it clutters the approach on it. A couple things about it. You're going to have to be comfortable adjusting timing on the sewing machine. I've had to get out of timing a couple of times. The one time the bobbin shuttle in here got off of timing, and another time the needle got out of timing, out of adjustment. And it's fairly easy to do, and I'm not going to try to make a video on adjusting that. There's some really awesome videos out there. Al Bain is one of them that has a good video on adjusting the sewing machine. There's a couple things that I have to remember when you're oiling this, and I'll do a different video on oiling, but sometimes you'll get, if it sits for a few days before you use it, you'll get oil on this foot down here. So you want to be careful that you remove any excess oil there before you drop that foot the first time on the leather and potentially stain something that you didn't mean to have an oil on. So that's kind of it. I've really enjoyed having it. I haven't used it, like I say, a bunch. I've probably used it more than I think. I've probably used close to 1 of those ½ spools of thread if you combine all the colors. So I guess that's using it quite a bit. And like I say, it's a very capable machine. I've got to get used to doing pretty close stitching. I've got some bags I got to make here soon, and it'll necessitate removing this table and just having the cylinder arm. Oh, speaking of the table, if you're going to buy one of these Cobra 26, go ahead and buy the table. It's $100, and makes a world of difference when you're sewing things like that tote that I just showed you. It'd be a challenge without it, and you're probably thinking, I'm a woodworker, I can make a table cheaper. This thing fits pretty good. I did have to make one adjustment here. This part here, where it comes around here, I removed a little bit here because it was hard to get it installed around the handle and everything with these long screws through the bottom part of the table assembly there. So that's it. Just a quick video on the Cobra 26. I appreciate you being here today. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.